What can you expect in the speaking section of the PTE academic test? Let's talk about some of the questions you'll see and how to answer them. Hi, I'm Sharon. Thank you for joining me today. This video is brought to you by Benchmark Education Solutions, and you can find us on the web at edubenchmark.com. Don't forget to click the little subscribe button and the bell so you don't miss a single new video. Before we talk about the kinds of questions on the exam, let's talk about how they're scored. There are two kinds of scoring: correct or incorrect, and partial credit. Correct or incorrect is just like it sounds. You get 1 point for a correct answer and no points if the answer is incorrect. There's only one kind of question in the speaking section that uses this scoring method: answer short question. For these questions, your answer will be a single word or phrase. Partial credit can give you full marks or partial marks. These are the questions that will also give you points in reading or listening. With partial credit, your examiner will check your answers for these three factors: content, pronunciation, and fluency. Content means to construct your sentences with correct grammar and organize your ideas well. Be sure and talk about as many parts of the question as you can in the time you have. You can earn up to 3 points in total for each question if you have good content. For pronunciation, make sure you can pronounce words correctly. Use good intonation and stress. You can earn up to 5 points per question for good pronunciation. Fluency is a test of your ability to find the right word quickly. Don't hesitate when you speak, and don't use filler words such as or okay. If you make a mistake, just keep going. Don't repeat yourself or have false starts. An example of this could be starting a sentence, stopping and starting again because you want to change the way you said something. This happens all the time in casual conversation, but try not to do it on test day. Good fluency can also earn you up to 5 points per question. Did you notice that pronunciation and fluency are worth more points than content? If you speak well, you'll earn more points than you do if you get all the content correct, although both are important. Speaking well is something that comes with practice, so be sure and practice a lot. Do lots of listening to native speakers and you'll improve your fluency and your pronunciation. And here's another tip: while you're recording, make sure you don't pause for longer than 3 seconds, or the recording will automatically stop. The PTE speaking section begins with a personal introduction. This is your opportunity to talk a little about yourself, and you can send it to the institutions you choose. There isn't any hurry, and you can think about what you might like to say before test day. You'll have 25 seconds to read the prompts and compose your answer, and 30 seconds to speak into the microphone. Some of the prompts you might see include your name, your age, your city and country, your profession, where you work or study, your hobbies or interests, and why you want to take the PTE test. Speak calmly and clearly. Your personal introduction isn't scored, but you only have one opportunity to record it. For the speaking section of PTE Academic, there are 5 kinds of questions you will have to answer: read aloud, repeat sentence, describe image, retell lecture, and answer short questions. First, we'll talk about read aloud. You'll have 6 or 7 of these questions. They will assess your reading and speaking skills. You'll see a text of up to 60 words. You'll have 30 to 40 seconds to practice. Then you'll hear a short tone that means you should start speaking. Read as naturally and clearly as possible. Don't rush. These questions test your fluency and pronunciation. Use your practice time to practice difficult words and work on speaking smoothly with good intonation and pausing in appropriate places. Let's try a sample text. I'm going to read the text out loud, then you pause the video and take as much time as you need to practice. Inheritable characteristics of the parents are passed on from one generation to the next through genes. No two individuals, even biologically related individuals, are alike in every way, and the differences in their characteristics are defined as variation. Living organisms show a great deal of variation. Now you try. Ready? Let's move on. Next, you'll have 10 to 12 repeat sentence questions. You'll hear a sentence that can be 7 to 14 words long. You get 9 seconds to prepare, then 7 or 8 seconds to repeat the sentence into the microphone. Repeat the sentence exactly as you hear it. Mimic the speaker's stress patterns and intonation as well as you can. Remember, this is a test of your fluency and pronunciation. Speak clearly and confidently into the microphone. You'll have enough time to read the entire sentence. And to get all 3 points for content, make sure to get as much of it correct as you can. You can still earn all 3 points even if you don't get all the content correct, but try your best. Now let's give it a try. I'll read a sentence and I'll give you 8 seconds to repeat it exactly as you hear it. You don't have to mimic my American accent. PTE doesn't care about your accent, but only about your fluency. Here we go. You need to enroll at least a week before the course starts. Next, you'll have 6 or 7 describe image questions. For these, you'll see an image on your screen. It could be a graph, a table, a map, or something similar. You'll get 25 seconds to prepare your answer. You'll hear a beep, which means you have 40 seconds to speak into the microphone. You may not be able to describe everything in the picture, so try to cover the main idea. Don't just repeat the information that you see. Summarize the content and describe the picture. You could pretend you're talking to a friend on the phone who can't see what you're seeing. And remember not to hesitate or use filler words like This is a test of your fluency, and that's more important than describing all the content. Let's try it. Here's an example of the kind of image you may see on the test. We won't use time limits. Just pause the video for as long as you want to. Look at the image, then describe it to your friend on the telephone. I won't be able to give you an answer for this image. Just use it to practice. Let's move on. Next, you'll have 2 to 4 retell lecture questions. In the 3 seconds you have before the lecture starts, it will help you if you take a deep breath and prepare yourself to listen. Then the lecture will begin and last for 60 to 90 seconds. When the lecture ends, you have 10 seconds to prepare, then 40 seconds to record your complete response. Here are some tips for the retell lecture questions. It's key to take very organized notes as quickly as you can. However, don't go so quickly that you can't read your writing. Your notes don't have to be grammatically correct because you are the only one who will see them. Write the keywords you hear, like nouns, verbs, and adjectives. If you give yourself prompts such as, first he talked about, or second he mentioned, this may help you as you speak. Here's a sample lecture like the one you might hear on your test. Pay attention to the vocabulary. Your knowledge of vocabulary will help you a lot in this part of the test.
There are 2 basic types of sunscreen, physical and chemical blockers. Physical blockers like zinc oxide or titanium dioxide reflect sun rays by acting as a physical barrier. If you've seen lifeguards with noses covered in white, then you know what this looks like. The same ingredients are primary components of diaper creams, where the goal is also to create a physical barrier. Historically, they haven't always been easy to apply and were conspicuously visible on the skin, but new formulations have made this less of an issue. Chemical blockers, on the other hand, absorb the sun's rays. They deteriorate more quickly than physical sunscreens because their ability to absorb the sun diminishes. Generally, these are more transparent when rubbed on the skin, but some people develop allergic reactions to some of the chemicals. Regardless of the type of sunscreen, all are subjected to testing to determine their sunburn protection factor, or SPF. This is essentially a measure of the protection that the sunscreen will provide from UVB rays before one begins to burn. But even if you don't burn, you still need to use sunscreen, because unless you live in a cave, you're not immune to the effects of the sun.
The last kind of question is answer short question. You'll have 10 or 11 of these. These questions are very basic and relate to everyday life. Your answer will be just one word or a short phrase. Let's try one. Listen to the question and see if you can say the answer in just a few seconds.
What do you call a flight within a country, not an international flight?
Remember, answer short questions are the ones that are marked either correct or incorrect, and they're worth 1 point each. If you can get all of these questions correct, that's 10 or 11 points for less work than you would spend on the other sections. And remember this important tip. Remember that for the PTE, the scoring in one section can affect your score in another section. In future videos, I'll talk more about each of these questions more in depth, and we'll go through some sample questions together. If you'd like to find out more about the PTE speaking test or any of the other PTE modules, listening, reading, and writing, check out our website at edubenchmark.com. We can help you with speaking mock tests, where you'll take a practice speaking test with an experienced teacher who can give you tips that are personalized for you. We also offer a smart advisor service. If you take the PTE test, you can submit your scores and we'll analyze the places where you need to do better so you can focus on them. If you need help with your PTE writing, you can submit writing samples to us at any time and we'll give you suggestions and help. And here's a special update. Benchmark is launching a new PTE student portal with mobile apps. This will make it super easy and convenient for you to prepare for your exam with free, up-to-date practice questions. Look for this coming soon. There'll be a link in the description below. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.